Hey, beautiful morning, everyone. This is Midnight Brands coming to you on May 10th, 2023. We are starting just a touch early, obviously, and have a few things that we've got coming up here later today that we just got to move this up. Going to try a little bit of a tweak on the format and actually look at the futures live and screen grab them as we go through them. But going to go ahead and get started here. And sorry about that, I forgot to mute this piece. There we go. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. Again, see how this one goes this way, but gotta start early. Starting off, obviously big day here today with CPI, big stuff there. If you're oil, DOE stuff later this morning, and then I guess late this afternoon there's some Treasury stuff going on. Jumping right into it, have SVXY capture these late last night. Pretty clean and simple levels there. Did note a couple of extra ones, just given that expect to see some volatility today. I say that with a little bit of a tone change because, there's something last week that everybody thought there's going to be a lot of, big move, and there wasn't crap. Like, nothing happened. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out today. Everybody's expecting a massive move, and so wouldn't it just screw with everybody to do, yesterday's 22 points for the entire day. Well, why not just do 44 today and call it a day and do nothing? Frustrate people across the board. So in any event, pretty simple levels there in SVXY. Moving on to VIX. Pretty clean ones here too. You definitely could include and mark up here to go and grab this monthly trend guide too with some of these wicks here. Be a bigger zone, 2150 to 21-ish. And even this weekly trend guide and weekly photo ADR. But not a whole lot there. Obviously you can see all the zones kind of spelled out, and you can pause the video if you want to take a look at this stuff. Again, I'm going to try to go through the ETFs and stuff quickly so we can jump into the futures. On SPY, definitely noted a couple of extra pieces here. Super small range, only a $1.40 yesterday. $1.96 on Monday, so really small. Not a whole lot of range expansion at all. So noted those couple upside zones. This is probably the bigger one that added down the bottom and wanted to call out, right? So supply demand, gap fill, annual pivot, structure, and weekly photo ADRs down there at that 403 level. That would even be below this 50-day, the look aspect here. And I think we get down to this 403 level. Now we're getting down closer to this daily anchor VWAP. So this zone here, it's not marked down there, but it's probably pretty damn close to that daily anchor VWAP there on March 13th, just seeing how kind of where it's split between 400 and 405. Will we get there? Have no idea. It'd be a 7-point move, but that's nothing if you think about some of these bigger range days we've had in the past with S&P. What you have here, 415, 414, and we dropped all the way down to 408, 407 and 90 something. So you can definitely see we can get some big range expansions for sure. Qs did add a couple of extra ones here that'll call out. So you've got this monthly trend guide, supply and demand, weekly photo ADRs. Underneath that, you've got your weekly trend guide reversal 2, supply and demand, gap fill, and the tier 2 end of week cheat. So pretty interesting one there. On the lower ones, the extra ones we added were the supply demand monthly trend guide, tier 2 daily cheat, as well as weekly full ADRs there. So I would really be pushing things. Also though, we only traded $1.50 yesterday. Typical range is in the $4-ish. So anywho, underneath, the bigger one for the Qs that we added was the weekly trend guide 2, 50-day gap fill daily anchor VWAP for the look. And you can see here as well at 311.08. Probably should have included the zone down there, but that's historically been some structure as you can see in there, kind of that 311, 320-ish area. So, yep, that is the ETFs. And gonna go back over here and open up ES and the rest of these. We'll see how this goes. There's just a couple things that I noted that I wanted to re-walk through kind of for myself even. Just added bonus, I guess, for anybody else that might come back and watch this, which don't know how much we get. There's not a lot of interactions yet, and I feel cheesy saying if you saw this and you had some appreciation, it helped, hit the like button, but I have no idea, like, other than YouTube analytics telling me if people watched it. So in any event, I'm just gonna move on. And I'm going to zoom this one out here a fair bit because there was a couple of things that caught my eye that I wanted to highlight here. I don't have any of the volume profile stuff turned on, but that is what helped dictate a couple of these levels here. I'm going to make that large, and that way you can see some of the pieces there. Okay, so I'm going to start way up here. I mean, this would be absolutely crazy, but if we do get that range expansion, I mean, yesterday we only traded 22 points. We've already traded that today. And so to think that we could do, you know, and bump up to 42.20 is not unheard of when you think about ES easily doing 100-point days. So that is the big one way up there. It's definitely a wider zone. You could split it into two smaller ones and say supply and demand and weekly trend guide reversal. There's definitely been interactions as well at the 42.17 level. And that's where everybody's been waiting and watching for. But it almost feels like if we're going to come up here at 42.17, why not go and grab this, you know, monthly trend guide reversal? Of course, that's where, you know, again, it could just come right up there and die at the bottom edge of supply and demand, which is also that 42.17 level there. So weekly photo ADRs, gap fill, naked VA, there's an NVPOC right underneath in there as well. Further below that, I'm going to mark some of these here while I've got them at the same time. Underneath that, that's a really just supply and demand, definitely some structure. You've got weekly IB stat from the other week in there, and 42.8 has definitely been an area that we've come into and struggled with over the last little bit. And if memory serves, 42.8 was the February highs, so year-to-date highs really. So that is that one. Underneath that, you end up with a combo high volume node, gap fill, last week's highs, supply and demand low. It was full ADRs. Obviously, you can see those have moved down. And so there's also an NVPOC right here from this this day back here on April 28th, it looks like. I also noted that one, or adjusted it a little bit just to make sure we grabbed kind of all of this structure through here. Underneath, we get into this block here, and on this one you definitely wanted that supply and demand high, which was already there. You can see it's got the combo high volume node, but it also captures that IB stat right there, and just like it just kind of grabs all these pieces here, right? I mean, just that's why I did that one that way. Obviously, supply and demand right there. You can see where things coming up, reject, come up, reject, come up, poke through, reject. So definitely want to make sure that supply and demand is covered in there. Underneath here, obviously pretty simple, not much to say with that one. You got your trend guide, again, not a lot to say there. I did note this weekly pivot trend strength reference point. This area, this 41.38, 41.40, has been the weekly point of control. It's what it is for this week so far. It's what it was for last week as well. And you can also see in there, probably a little hard to see, But that is the combo point of control that looks at what is the point of control been for 3-year, rolling 20-day, rolling 10-day, last week, rolling 5-day, and daily, and looks to normalize and aggregate all of that stuff to come up with the combos, high volume nodes, high value areas, point of controls, etc. So it is grabbing all of that information to roll up, and that is a pretty big area right there at that 4140, 4138. You can also see obviously it's trend strength and weekly pivot. So that's why it's noted there. It was kind of the starting fail point overnight. We had a big candle, have not dug into why, don't really care why, to be candid at this point. It's there. Underneath that, the look 20-day swing anchored VWAP did not pull it down to include supply and demand. Felt like the zone was going to be too big, and so left it as is. Then you end up with this div-ish area, which is our daily anchor VWAP from May 4th, which we hit pretty damn well as photo ADRs to the tick there. Next up, obviously pretty simple. Down lower, we adjusted this zone, but it's pretty clear what that one is. And then we end up with that one. These zones here on the lower edge, we added with the expectation that maybe we do get some good volatility. So pretty clear here why kind of this zone is where it is. All right, you can definitely see kind of that structure through there. It captures weekly IB, or sorry, the IB stat from the other day, May 4th, 5th, whatever that is. You capture weekly photo, annual pivot, gap fill, quarterly pivot. There's just, definitely can see right here how he came up, rejected, and then right at the annual pivot, then pushed right back. So it wouldn't be bad. Like, I mean, it'd be kind of nice to see it come back and test that 40-60-ish level off that annual pivot and go. We'll just have to see what happens. You could drag it down to include the supply and demand. That just felt like it's going to be way too wide of a zone. So I didn't include that. This one down here, so you got NVPOC, naked VA, supply demand, and I mean there's just a decent amount of stuff right here at this spot there that you can see. And then down lower, we get into a really big piece with monthly trend guide 2, naked VA, weekly full ADRs, and so that's a pretty good size zone way down there. If we do head down there, the 30-week SMA and 200-day SMA are not further below, or not a whole lot lower. So those are those pieces there. Move on to NQ in 1 second. Okay, so NQ here. Guess I'll keep it like that. And give me 1 second, because I don't remember. No, that was fine. So mostly very similar to ES. There were a couple of things again wanted to call out and note here. Obviously, start with the zones we added to the upside. So pretty clean, simple monthly trend guide reversal 2, weekly full ADRs, also NVPOC right there at 13,650. Underneath that, we end up with weekly trend guide reversal 2 and weekly photo ADRs, top edge of supply and demand, and Naked VA. It's also tier 1 end of week cheat there. Next, now we start getting into the pieces that the algo picked up. So actually have an NVPOC right there at that 13.5, 2350. So you've got that one there. It's also the tier 2 daily cheat, supply demand low, and obviously again monthly trend guide reversal. I looked back and I did not see anything really at this spot here with weekly trend guide reversal, so I just am ignoring it. There wasn't anything there that caught my eye of any level of significance. If we tag it in reverse, okay, I'll try to figure out why, but I just didn't see anything, and so I chose to move on. It was at one point weekly trend guide reversal and full ADRs, but you can see full ADRs has moved down. We had that pull overnight. So in any event, moving lower here, we end up with the gap fill there, the 13,348, which was some structure going back a ways there. Last week's highs, supply and demand, obviously photo ADRs are not there anymore. They are, however, they've moved down. Yeah, actually here you can see like decent, really good, decent amount of structure through there. In any event, trend guide, photo ADRs, should have probably dragged this up a little bit to include yesterday's IV high. Didn't, just left it there as is. Underneath that, obviously trend guide reversal, pretty clear. This zone here is pretty clear with photo ADRs. It's definitely a bigger zone. Alright, the look, MPP, 20-day daily anchor VWAP, high volume node, and the tier 1 daily cheat, as well as supply and demand low. So, decent one there. Pretty clean on that one. Clean there, no updates in the end. Clean here on this one, which gets into weekly photos. Could have dragged down, I guess, to include this. Just didn't feel like it was necessary. It definitely is some structure there, though. You can see. Which is why it's notated as a high volume node, just based upon some other things. But and then even the other bigger one that included, this would be massive if we came all the way down here. It, in the grand scheme of things, isn't actually a whole lot of range still. But you get weekly full ADRs, tier 3 daily cheat, you have gap fill, naked VA, and again, most importantly, it's the look with 50-day EMA and daily anchor VWAP from March 10th. So that is it for NQ. Briefly going to take a look at RTY and YM. Again, have some other things I need to try to get through these. Alright, RTY, I don't think I added anything here. Yeah, I guess I did. I'm really just going to mark these up. There's not a whole lot of extra explaining required in my mind here on this one. I will call out the extra zones I added here in just a second, which is really just, you know, tier 1 OPEX sheet, structure, weekly photo ADR, supply and demand, and then up here, weekly photo, gap fill, structure at 1808. Probably should include the weekly trend guide, just didn't drag it down. It definitely would be watching for anyways there, but I think those are the key ones on RTY. So. Moving on to YM. I find this very fugly and not very probable, but I did, my eye did catch it, and so I included it in there. I did not draw it up as a zone with that possible ABCD bigger kind of piece there. So it's there. I don't have any expectation that we would see anything like that, but I did just wanted to note what I saw on that one. So, and I don't know that I adjusted any of these. Yeah. So that is obviously not a zone I care about anymore. It was Supply and Demand High, full ADRs. That has moved down. You really probably should watch for it now like this, assuming that we don't continue to fall through there, which would move down those full ADRs. Is watch for it like that. In any event, on the upside zone that was added, you have weekly photo ADRs, weekly trend guide reversal, structure at 34, whatever that is, 390, we'll say. Weekly IV stat from last week, high there. Just a good amount of decent stuff right through that block. Underneath that, moving back here to these pieces, zone 3, trend guide reversal, weekly pivot, 20-day EMA is in there, and I know this is scrunch because I wanted to catch some of those other bigger pieces up there. That was photo ADRs, but I'm leaving it there. Actually, no, we combined those two zones, so I take that back. So we combine this zone and div, so you get the 50-day EMA, daily anchored VWAP, all these pieces just kind of combined into one spot there. Could treat that as one bigger zone, but that's up to you. And then this was the other one. And then we added these two down here just after seeing kind of this possible ABCD. Again, don't think this is even remotely possible. 33,575. I mean, you're getting to a shitload of points on the Dow at that point. Possible, sure. I just don't see that it's happening today, but we'll see. In any event, these two lower zones we did add were weekly photo, excuse me, annual pivot, naked VA, tier 3 daily cheat, and then a much bigger one down here in our eyes, right? 200-day SMA and VPOC. There is the October 30th, 2020 monthly anchored VWAP right there, and if we came all the way down here too, like, now we're getting into the lower edge of this transfer trend line there on that one. So would be massive if we did decide to come all the way down there. So yeah, that is YM. Let's move on to GC and CL. We'll start with GC since that is the one that is presently loaded on the charts. I don't think I have to adjust this one at all, and we can actually view half the stuff on it, which is kind of nice. So GC, pretty straightforward on most of these. I'll call out these ones here, and then we'll note the other ones that we added in just a second. Okay, so let's talk about the really big upside ones. Gold has seen some really big ADRs here recently. CPI could be another one of those potential days that just really gets it going. So weekly photo, top edge of supply and demand, which gets to the all-time high, which we tick for tick, as you can see, just the other week. So bigger one up there. Excuse me. Underneath that, the other one we added there is weekly trend guide reversal, tier 2, daily cheat structure is 2078, and supply and demand low. Underneath that, obviously pretty big zone. You can read all of these ones in there to see the specifics on them. I will note here though, this div we actually expanded to move down to not care about as much the combo high volume node, but to make sure we grabbed the NVPOC from just back here on the 4th, gap fill, monthly trend guide reversal, and photo ADRs has moved down. So because of that, with it moving down, it's kind of why we slid all of this stuff down to include that monthly trend guide reversal. We also, as you can see here, right, because it was trend guide reversal, monthly trend guide reversal, we chose to move down TGR to get kind of where the wicks and things were overnight, yesterday, etc., and kind of where those pieces are. And then I don't think we've changed anything here. No, I think that one looks clean. So yeah, nothing on any of those. I don't care about this. I had an error in here. I had supply and demand copied twice. I guess I was a little overzealous on something the other day. It's there. You could, watch it. I would probably watch more though. This, if I'm paying attention to things, just move this down actually, and watch it at that level. The other big piece is if we decide to fail, then this, it's just a really big zone there in my mind. 50-day VWAP would be just right above that actually. Weekly photo ADR structure, supply demand, gap fill. Alright, so that is that, and then let's look at CL, which is not as clean by any stretch of the imagination. Tried to adjust it into what kind of made sense. So it's struggling to get over that April 24th daily anchored VWAP there. As you can see, it definitely cleared it on the swing anchored VWAP, which is a 60-minute swing anchored VWAP, but the daily just barely poked its head above there and has not been able to clear it since then. So pretty simple for a handful of these. We'll again try to call out the ones that we added or notated, etc. So added the weekly trend guide, a little bit of structure back through here, but it was really more interested in the fact that the naked VA was right there. So that's why we noted that one. Pretty clean on this. Full ADRs has moved down, and would actually treat that like this on that one, where you've got your zone and the div combined with a bunch of these pieces of evidence. So you have to look in here with the daily anchor VWAP from the 12th, 50-day, weekly. It's just going to be a touch higher, obviously. May's highs were in here. Obviously April's, just the other week, April is a little bit higher than that up at that div above, but in any event, that is that one. See if there's anything else that's super specific or interesting. Noted that is inside and dragged it down to ignore trend strength and pay more attention to this swing anchor VWAP monthly trend guide reversal, auto supply and demand on that one. So that, I mean, I don't need to read off all the text on there for folks. If people have questions, they can come back and ask. Go back and tag the video with the kind of time slice, and I can take a look at what was on there and answer any questions. But that is just kind of how, in our minds, this all gets carved up. So hopefully that is helpful. Again, sorry I had to start a little bit early. The benefit of this being recorded is you can go back and watch anytime you want. So that will be it. Hopefully everybody had a great one, and we will catch y'all later. Remember, it is obviously CPI as we noted, so pay attention, size down a little bit, and don't get